Hello everyone. Hallo ihr Lieben. Oh, it's so great to be connected with you again. This time not from Brazil, this time from Munich, where we're finally enjoying some really wonderful summer days. And I'm really excited to come to you today with this live because I'm talking to you about one of my favorite topics, which is mastering your mindset, especially mastering your negative mindset. So all those nasty limiting beliefs, all those nasty little voices in our minds, which often on autopilot without even recognizing that they are talking to us, are influencing our days, our work life, our relationship life, in a very subtle way most of the time, in a way that we hardly recognize that it's our negative mind talking to us, our negative mindset. And we perceive it almost as a given, as a fact, as a reality. So those who follow me for quite a while know that besides my passion for life designing and coaching people to create a new perspective for them, to create an improved professional life, to create an improved personal life, relationship life. My big passion is working with our biggest asset, our mind. And it can really be our biggest support in creating whatever we want, but it can also our biggest obstacle in not letting us achieve all the happiness and all the success that we really deserve. So today I want to talk about a special topic in this whole mindset work, which is positive intelligence, our positive intelligence. And it's something that I discovered last year. And you know that I'm always looking out for tools, for methodologies, how to really tap into our full potential and how to use everything that we have in our favor. So last year I came across a really fascinating, interesting training called Positive Intelligence. And it's all about uncovering your very individual, special mental saboteurs, because we all have a combination of mental saboteurs, but in total there are only 10. So that's the really fascinating thing about this work, that it's once you understand your individual combination of saboteurs, it's so much easier for yourself to spot the situations, the life areas where you are most likely to sabotage without even noticing it very often. So last year I came across the training and I said, you know what, I think I'm going to do it for myself. I mean, it was right into the pandemic, it was quarantining, it was really challenging to navigate a long-term relationship with all those restrictions. A lot of topics came up for me, and in this time I started to go through this positive intelligence training for myself as an experiment, and the results were just mind-blowing. It was incredible what shifted for myself, for my relationship, for my work life through this kind of training, through understanding what is triggering me actually and how I can deal with those triggers in the best possible way. And after I was through with this training and I saw the incredible shift that it made for me, I said, I have to bring this to my clients. So I have to bring this to my coaching clients. I want to bring this in addition to the life designing work, because it makes so much sense to combine those two and to really tap into the full potential of everyone and the full positive potential of everyone. So I started the training, and now I'm a positive intelligence coach as well, and can bring this training also to you. But before I'm talking about the training or anything about this, I really want you to understand a little bit better what this positive intelligence, what this work with our mindset is all about. And a great way to start is to dive right in case you're hooked now, in case you're really interested to say, well, I think I have some self-sabotaging going on. I think I have some kind of mindset blocks that are keeping me from really tapping into my full potential in work, in my relationships, in the things that I plan for myself, or I constantly fall back into the same more negative behavior patterns. If this is you, so if you have the slight suspicion that there is something working against you from time to time, then it would be really interesting to have a look at your saboteur patterns. And we have, so positive intelligence, they identified actually 10 sabotaging patterns that are at the basis of all self-sabotaging that is happening in our life. And we have the main saboteur, which all of us have, which is the judge. And it's all about judging ourselves, judging the others, and judging our circumstances. So this is a saboteur, a mental saboteur, which is constantly by our side, sometimes more active, sometimes a little bit more silence, but it's always active, and it's active within everyone. And the trick is not trying to fight these saboteurs by all means. The trick is to recognize them, to understand them, and then to transform them into more helpful thought pattern and behavior pattern. And apart from this judge, this master saboteur that is influencing our day-to-day life, even if we don't recognize it. So think about today. How often did you judge yourself for what you didn't do yet, for what you could have done better, for the way you look, for a way you behaved, whatever it is? I'm sure today you didn't make it through half day without making a self-judgment upon yourself. And then there's judging others, judging their behavior, judging their looks, judging their reactions. And then there is judging your life. Why is this always happening to me? Why didn't I get this? Why doesn't it work out this way? So this saboteur, the big judge, this is the one that is for sure active within all of us. But then we have very individual accomplice saboteurs. And those saboteurs are actually thought and behavior patterns that started in our childhood and then developed through our life and became more and more established depending on how we had to cope with things. So everyone, depending what they had to deal with in childhood and in certain life circumstances, developed another combination of saboteurs that were helpful at a certain moment, but that are now holding us back in a lot of things and a lot of things that we want to accomplish. So it's really, really important to have a look and understand what are your individual saboteurs. So as I told you, we have 10 saboteurs in total. The big one, the judge, is active for all of us, no matter whom. And then we have 9 accomplice saboteurs. So we have a pleaser, we have an avoider, we have a controller, we have an hyperachiever, we have a hyper-rational, we have a stickler. There is a full set of saboteurs, and you will have and you will discover your very own combination of those saboteurs. And it's so interesting to see. And the way you find out which saboteurs are most active for you is actually through a test from Positive Intelligence. And if you're now curious, and I hope you get curious because it's really so eye-opening, then I've linked it through my Instagram profile. So if you click on the link above, it will take you directly to my website where I have the test, the Saboteur Test. If you're watching it on Facebook, I will put a link in the description. So start with just going there and doing the test and just see what is coming out for you. What kind of very individual saboteur set is active for you. And just by starting understanding yourself better, by starting to understand which are your mental triggers, which are the situation where you are triggered most, is the best way to start understanding and start working with your negative mindset. And I can give you a very practical example from myself. So I have a high score in those saboteurs in a controller, so a controller saboteur. And it's very interesting because in my work life, it's not so dominant as in my personal life. In my personal life, I always have the feeling if I don't control things, they fall apart. I have to be the one who takes care of everything, who organizes everything, who makes things happen. So the controller is very active for me, especially in this area. And discovering this was for me really eye-opening because I never thought about it in this way. I never believed from myself that I was a controlling person. But once I made the test and once I saw the description, it was like, it's actually true. Yes, I have a controller pattern. It doesn't mean I'm a controlling person. It just means I have a control pattern. So when things are triggering me, when I have a situation that is putting me in front of uncertainty or scares me or makes me more insecure, my default pattern is the controller, trying to get everything under control again. And when I paid attention to this, it was really very interesting to see on what level it influences my everyday life. So for instance, in my relationship, I realized that, for instance, if I'm planning something, if I'm organizing something, and someone is questioning something about this organization, this planning, or is asking me if I'm really sure that this is the way, I get completely offensive. It's like, how can you even question it? It annoys me that people even ask this kind of question when I spend so much about, planning all the details and getting into everything and already anticipating all the problems and obstacles that there could be. So how can people even question this? And I realized, wow, that's my controller talking there. That's my controller jumping in and saying, oh, no, someone wants to take your control away. Someone questions your control. And the minute I discovered this, the minute I discovered that actually that's not me, that's a saboteur, that's a not very supportive pattern that I have trained over the years, not any longer supportive pattern that I've trained over the years, the more I saw how interesting it was to be able to disconnect from it, to say, no, I'm not the person who gets annoyed if people ask me about if I'm sure, if I'm clear about my planning. It's just an interesting observation from the outside. And knowing this is probably triggering something in me, makes me completely more distance from this behavior. And I was like, okay, fine, the other person is just asking. It's not about criticizing myself. It's not crushing my ability to plan or to organize. It's just a communication. And it was so interesting for me to see in relationship situations or even in work situations, when I was able to understand where are my saboteurs kicking in, talking loud, and most of the time causing a really negative feeling around it. So in this example of the controller, it wasn't a pleasant feeling that I got in this moment when someone questions my planning. It was like annoyed defense, like don't even think of questioning it. So the energy around it was not positive. But when I understood it, and when I understood it's just a pattern, it's just a pattern that I can also start to work upon, that I can also start to weaken, because that's what we do in our positive intelligence training. We weaken those triggers, we weaken the saboteurs. They will never go away, but we weaken them. Once I understood this, I was immediately at distance to this pattern and to this behavior, and I didn't felt so triggered anymore, because I saw that it's not about me, it's about triggering one old pattern. And this made a huge shift, and it brought so much lighter energy into things and into organizing things. And like this example is just one example in how many ways you can work with your saboteurs once you understand what you pay attention to. So for today, I just wanted to really introduce this concept of our mental saboteurs. The concept that we all have them, that if you go to the root basis of our negative triggers, there are actually just 10 different versions of how we get triggered. There's one, the saboteur we all have, the judge saboteur, but then there are 9 accomplice saboteurs where everyone has a very individual, personal mix and match. And that's the part where it really gets interesting to look into it. And that's the part where I would really invite you, if you're interested by this topic of working with your mindset and really tapping into your full positive mind and mindset, go and do the test. Just try it out for yourself. See what kind of saboteurs are the most active for yourself. You will also get a whole description and really start to pay attention in your day-to-day lives, in your relationships, in your work life. When there are trigger situations, when you start to feel a negative energy, when you start to either feel defensive or when you start to draw yourself back and start to feel sad or alone, look if there's not a saboteur pattern at the root of what is happening there. A saboteur that is causing this. So it's really very fascinating to look into your own mind in this way and to understand your behavior a little bit better and to understand your thought patterns a little bit better. So try it out. Go to my website, do the test. It's absolutely free. I have also an offer at the moment for everyone that wants to talk about their test results, because they say that's interesting. I really feel connected to this, but I don't quite get what I should do with it. I'm also scheduling free 30-minute calls just to talk about the saboteurs and the saboteur test. So if this is something that catches your interest, do the test and contact me, and we will have a conversation about your very personal saboteurs and how to work best with them and what's the next step forward. So with this, I'm wishing you now a wonderful, wonderful day. in Brazil, in Munich, wherever you're joining and wherever you're catching this video. And I hope you make some really interesting discoveries the same way I did, and that it really starts a new journey on discovering more and more about your own mind, about this incredible potential that you carry with yourself all day and every day. So have a wonderful day, and I see you very soon. Bye.